Good morning. We have finished with our first chapter of class 2 with history. So today we are going to start a new chapter, that is theme number 2 or chapter number 2. The name of the chapter is Kings, Farmers and Towns, Early State and Economic. The time frame that we are going to discuss in this chapter, the period that we are going to discuss in this chapter is from 600 BC to 600 CE, or you can say 600 BC to 600 AD. Understood? So between this period of 12,000 years, what we are going to study about the kings of ancient India, and we are going to study about different kind of farmers and their development of agriculture. Then we are going to study about different kind of these towns who emerged and then during that period, right, in early state and economic. We are going to study about the business relationship, and we are also going to study about different kind of coins and different kind of this economic activity. On the whole, we are going to discuss about political and economic history of ancient India. Why it is called political history? Because we are going to discuss about the kings and towns, right, and early state. These all deals with the politics. And then economic means farmings were there. Then economic activities we are going to study about. Understood? So in this chapter we are going to study about political and economic history of ancient India. Right? Now, if you remember in the last chapter number 1, I told you that Indus Valley civilization declined in 1800 BC, and around 1500 BC, people of India have almost forget about the decline of Indus Valley civilization. Right? Now, certainly I jumped, or I became with a new date here, 600 BC. Right? Now, what about this time frame or gap between from 1500 to 600 BC? Between these periods, what happened? Do you have this kind of question? Do you in your mind? If you think like that, then you are learning. And if you are not thinking like that, then start thinking like that, because you are going to learn many things about Indian history, and also you need to give an exam, so you must need to learn about it. So here, the time frame, the gap time frame from 1500 BC to 600 BC, right? From decline of Harappan culture and from the beginning of early state, between this period in Indian history, we call this period as Vedic period. Now, why we call it Vedic period? Because during that period, the Rig Veda, right, one of the most ancient Indian texts, will start writing during that period by the Brahmin. Right? Not only this Rig Vedic, they have 4 sacred texts of this Vedic period. We have this Rig Veda, we have Sama Veda, we have Yajur Veda, then we have Adharva Veda. Right? Now, from Rig Vedic itself has an early Rig Vedic period and later Rig Vedic period, but we are not going to go that much detail in this topic, right? But Vedic period from 1500 BC to 1200 BC, Brahmins started writing Rig Vedic texts. Then from 10,000 to 600 BC, they start writing another 3 texts of this Vedic. It is Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda. So that period is called the Vedic period. Now we are going to discuss about what happened between this period, right, in Indian subcontinent. In India, what changes happened between this period. So we are going to look after some of the change that happened or that started between this period. Now, first changes, as I told you, right, many development in different part of subcontinent after the decline of Harappan civilization, right? And now, one first, major changes in this period is, as I told you, right, Rig Veda was composed, means start writing, right? Composed along the Indus and its tributaries. The people, they live near the river Indus, especially here refers to the Brahmins, right? Those who live near the river Indus, and its tributaries mean a stream that joined to the main river stream. They start writing Rig Vedic text, one of the most ancient texts of India, the Hindu text. And second changes in this Vedic period are here, image of the Vedic, the text. The second changes between this period is we saw a large agriculture settlement emerge, means happened in the several part of subcontinent. Now, thing that you need to keep in your mind is first, how agriculture settlement happened, because people need good soil, good climate condition, right? Good water sources, right, to do agriculture. When they found that kind of place, then they settled. Now, during that Vedic period in India subcontinent, there are many agriculture settlements happened in this northern area. Then we have in the Deccan Plateau. Then in this Karnataka area, right? See over here, in this northern area, and then Deccan Plateau, right? Maharashtra and everything, right? And then in Karnataka, in this place, like where the agriculture settlement was happened during that time. Now, as we know that India is a land of river. India has a different, many rivers. We have, Ganga, Son river here, we have Brahmaputra here, Tapti, Mahanadi, Indus, then we have Godavari, Krishna, Tunga, Bhadra. There are many rivers in India, right? These rivers are, very good for the agriculture purpose. So that's why agriculture settlement happened during that time. Understood? And the next this interesting change happened during that period is new method of disposal of debt known as megaliths. Now here, megaliths, in some time in an exam, there's a 1 mark question about what do you mean by megaliths. Right? So you need to understand this. If you remember, in Indus Valley civilization, what the people used to do, they just bury the dead body in a pit, right? And that's it. Now here in this Vedic period, what happened? New method of bury of dead started, and that kind of method we call it megaliths. Now what is megalith? I would call it elaborate stone structures built on a dead body, right? So look at here, it's kind of megalithic, right? So on the whole, you can say megalith is a kind of a new way of burying the dead by making this elaborate stone structures. In English, we call this kind of we call it tomb, right? Understood? Okay. So next development that happened during that period is from circa 600 BC emerged. They started many new early states. Right? Early state means small state. Right? Then many kingdoms. Kingdom means ruled by the king and having 2-3 states, right? By look after or taking care or governed by one king, right? Or queen. And then empire started. Empire means in which there were many kingdoms were there and many king ruled by one emperor, right? So those king, they pay tribute to the emperor, right? So through that way, these kind of new, this formation of government administration also started. Political structure also happened during that period. And then now we know many about these things, right? How this happened, how development happened. So from where we get this information? So for that, we need different kind of sources to understand this, or sources to reconstruct how do we know about these things, right? So there are different kind of sources available for the historian to know about those past. So these are some kind of sources are inscription. Right? Inscription is a very, this valuable source. What is inscription? Inscription means writing on a hard surface, right? Like metal, rock, wood, pottery, right? So it remains permanent and it can give a good information, right? Give us good information. So that's why inscriptions are very, it's a reliable sources, I would say. And second source we have text. Text is one of the most important sources to reconstruct the ancient India history. Why? Because we know about many sects in a text. Right? In this Buddhism, we have this Tripitaka, Sutta Pitaka, Vinayak Pitaka, Abhidhamma Pitaka. In Indian text, we have Manusmriti, we have this Dharma Shastra, Dharma Sutras, then we have this Rigvedic text, right? And then we have Jain text, right? There are many texts. So through that text, we reconstruct the ancient history. Understood? And third important sources to know about the history is coin. Those who study the coin are called epigraphy, not numismatic. Those who study inscription are called epigraphy, right? Why coin is considered as important sources? Because from the coin, some coin contain the image of king. So by looking at that image, we know about the different kind of kings were there. And not only that, some coin also contained the period where he ruled or reign of the king. So by looking at these date, it help us to this arrange the chronology of different kind of dynasty. So it help us to reconstruct the history. Very important sources we have. Then last we have visual materials. Visual materials means something, some kind of sources that we can see, just like megaliths. And then we have the stupas there. We have different kind of these forts were there, temples were there, different kind of sources that we can see by our own eyes. That's called visual materials. So through that way, we reconstruct the history of ancient India. Understood? So that is all about the, what are the this development happened in this Vedic period. Now, the main part, the today chapter number 2, we are going to start it from now. Now, the first topic of your chapter is Priyadasi and Princeship and Priyadasi. Now, listen very carefully. Princeship is the English officer in the mint where the coin used to start, right? Where the coin was made. He was officer in East India Company, who is the officer of the mint. And then Priyadasi is the one name of Ashoka, King Ashoka. You know about it, right? King Ashoka. Ashoka is also known as Priyadasi. Understood? Okay, now we're going to study about it. First, in 1830s, now see, it's a very interesting story that you need to know about it. Why? In 1830s, when I put S means in 1830s, as when you put S behind the bar, that means around this decade, right? James Princeship, an officer in the mint of this mint means where the coin, where the place where the coin coin were made, right? He was the officer in the mint, right? So what he did, he was an officer in East India Companies, you know about it, they are the business, this company, they came in India in 16th century, I'm sorry. So what he did, he deciphered means he able to read Bahami and Kharosthi, two script used in early inscription and coin. Now, his most important work is he able to read one of the two ancient script, Bahami and Kharosthi. Now see, that is image of James Princeship, and here the Bahami script. Now, Bahami script and Kharosthi script, you need to understand this. Script and language are two different things. Understood? See, we have Hindi language, we have English language, we have Tibetan language, right? Different kind of language were there. But also we have a different kind of scripts were there. Before, there were only language we have, but we don't have this script. So that, for that period, we call it prehistory, right? Suppose if I give you an example. In ancient time, most of the language that people used to speak is in Sanskrit, right? But they use script as a Bahami or Kharosthi. They used to write that in that way. Or else I can say, suppose if I want to write Kal Ho Na Ho, the name of the movie, right? Kal Ho Na Ho. Kal Ho Na Ho is a Hindi language, yes or no? But I'm writing it in an English script. Kal Ho Na Ho. Now, if I ask foreign people or to British people to read it, they can able to read, right? Kal Ho Na Ho. Now, if I ask them the meaning, maybe they will not understand it. Why? Because the language that I use is English, but the script that I use is Hindi. Understood? Now, the script that I use is Hindi, English, but the language I use here is English. So, Kal Ho Na Ho is English also. Now, forget about it. Now, through that way, this is all happened. So, in ancient time, most of the scripts used were Bahami and Kharosthi. So, what he did, he deciphered, he able to read. So that is very majestic work, because see, to read the Indus Valley script till 46,000 years, even nobody can able to read the script. He can able to read the Bahami and Kharosthi script. So understood. Now, importance of this script. Now you will understand. See, now what happened during that time, around 1830s, right? Then 1840, 1850, 60. There were many inscriptions were found written on Bahami and Kharosthi script, just like that. Written on here, see, in the pillars or in the rock edicts, right? Pillars. So most of these inscription contained a name of the king called Priya Dasi. Now see, most inscription mention a king referred to as Priya Dasi, meaning pleasant to behold, right? If you make it in the English, easy English, you can say it good looking. Priya means pleasant, right? Beautiful. And Dasi means darshan, view, right? So Priya Dasi. Or there were many other, another meaning for Priya Dasi. The people historians used to speak, person who look other with the equal eye. They was also saying like that. Now, many script found in ancient India, they mention about the king called Priya Dasi, right? Now, who is Priya Dasi? People don't have any idea because only they found about this, script. Now, what happened? And later on, they found there were also a few inscriptions, also referred to as the king as Ashoka, one of the famous rulers known for Buddhism. As we know, after the Kalinga War, he was so devastated and he changed his religion to Buddhism, and then all his life he propagated the Buddhist religion. Right? Now, from 1830s to till 1950, we have found different kind of inscriptions, right, on which they written Priya Dasi, the king Priya Dasi. Sometimes they also write Deva Namapiya, beloved of God. In some inscriptions they also found Deva Namapiya Priya Dasi. But they never found any inscription which mentioned Ashoka as a Priya Dasi. Now the turning point in 1915, in a place near in Karnataka, there was a place called Maski, where one minor rock edict was found, just like that, minor rock edict was found, on which it's clearly written that Devanamapiya Ashoka. Now it solved all the confusion of archaeologists. They before believed that who is Priya Dasi. Now these inscriptions found in Maski, Karnataka, that inscription make very clear that Devanamapiya, Priya Dasi or Ashoka belongs to one person, that is King Ashoka. So through that way, archaeology came to know that there was one very popular king in ancient India called Priya Dasi, Devanamapiya, beloved of God, or Ashoka, free of sorrow, no problem, right? So these are the different names used to call for the Ashoka at the time. Now, because of that finding, right, it enlightened the archaeologists to see the Ashoka right, over here. Right? Because of these kind of findings, it helped us to open the eye of archaeologists to give a new direction to investigate, right, to find about the early Indian political history. From that way, it opened eye, or it give us, encourage or Indian people to study about the political history of India. So through that way, it give us more, what I would call encourage to study about Indian political history, about the kings, about the buildings, about the wars, right? So through that way, it started. Understood? Now, second point in this chapter we are going to discuss about. Point number 2 is the earliest state. Inside this point 2.1, we are going to study about the 16 Mahajana Prathas. Now, see, Jana Prathas, the meaning of Jana means people, right? Pata means settlement, a place where people used to stay, right? In the Vedic period, there were many Janapada happened, right? Small states were happened. But what happened during the 600 BC? There are 16 Mahajanapadas, big, popular, powerful Mahajanapadas happened. So in Buddhist and Jain texts mentioned about 16 Mahajanapadas. So we are going to discuss on 16 Mahajanapadas. Understood? Now before we understand this, there were many questions. There were questions like that you usually or repeatedly asked in your board exam, 3 marks, right? See, the question is, why do we consider 6th century BC as a turning point in Indian history? The question throws you through like that. Why do we consider 6th century BC as a turning point in Indian history? Understood? So your answer should be like that. The 6th century BC is considered as a turning point in Indian history because beginning of the early state and city, growing use of iron, right? Then development of coinage, then growth of Buddhism and Jainism. If you write like that, then you will get 1.5 marks, not 3 marks. But how could you write? So I will tell you how to write. See, if suppose question asks like that, you need to write like that. 6th century BC is considered as a turning point in Indian history because point number 1, you need to write in a point in history, understood? Point number 1, 6th century is considered turning point in Indian history because it's beginning of early state and cities like 16 Mahajanapadas mentioned in Buddhism and Jain texts. First point. And second point, growing use of iron were there, right? Different kind of irons were used to make weapons, to make shields, right? To make utensils. Different kind of growing use of irons were there. In Indus Valley civilization, archaeology never found the trace of iron. Do you remember? Now in this period, during this Vedic period, the use of iron was started. So that's why it's turning point. Third point, development of coinage. Why 3rd century BC is considered important? During that period, the use of coin started in the process of exchange. Before, exchange was done with a barter system. Here, coinage system, and the first coin we found is punchmark coin. Understood? And fourth point, growth of different kind of growth of faith or religions like Buddhism by Lord Buddha and Jainism by Lord Mahavira. So it happened. And point number 5, above 4 points shows that 6th century considered as a turning point in Indian history. So if you write like that, then you will get 3 out of 3 marks. Understood? So through that way you need to write. Now we are going to discuss about Mahajana Prathas. Now, as I told you before, Buddhist and Jain texts mention about 16 Mahajana Prathas. Like Buddhist texts, like this Vinayak Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, Abhidhamma Pitaka, they mention about 16 Mahajana Prathas. And Mahavira text, we call it this Bhagavad Sutra. I'm not mentioning about this Bhagavad Gita of this Krishna and Arjuna. I'm telling you Bhagavad Sutra in the Jain text which mention about 16 Mahajana Prathas. So with the help of these Buddhist and Jain texts, we know about 16 Mahajana Prathas happened in 6th century BC. So some of the Mahajana Prathas were Magadha, Vijay, Kru, Panchala, Gandhara, Kosala, Taksali and Avanti. So these are some of the important among the 16 Mahajana Prathas. So map is quite small, right? So I'll show you here. See, can you please make a little bit zoom, clear enough to see by everyone? Done? Okay, see, Magadha, right? Present day Bihar, here Magadha. Present day Bihar. Then we have done. Okay, see, then we have, no, leave it. Then we have Gandhara and Taksali in present day Pakistan. Here Gandhara and Taksali. Then we have Kru in present day Haryana and Punjab area. Then we have Panchala, right? In present day, this near the Kru. Done? Okay, then here, see, Magadha and present day Bihar. Then we have Gandhara and present day Pakistan, right? In the northwest frontier provinces. Then we have Taksali in Pakistan. Then we have Avanti, right? In Marwa region, like the Madhya Pradesh in here, right? Then we have Kru, right, where the Mahabharata happened in Haryana and this Punjab area. Then we have Panchalas. Then we have Kosala in this Awadh region, right, in UP. So these are the some of the important Mahajana Prathas among 16 Mahajana Prathas that I told you before. Okay. And the next, the development happened here. The most Mahajana Prathas ruled by the king known as Ganas or Sangha. That is all about the ruling system where the Ganas and Sangha used to have one king. The Buddhist and Jain belongs to Ganas, right? Where the kingdom was ruled by the one king. And there was another kind of governing system that we call it oligarchy. oligarchy is a kind of the governing system in which administration system in which there were no any single king. There were many adults. They combined together and then they do the discussion and then they made this unanimous decision to look after the kingdom. So every these adults were known as rajas. So that kind of governing system is called oligarchy. Or you can also find this definition inside of the textbook. So you need to look at it. Okay, understood? And the last, we have a very important thing. In each Mahajana Pradas has its own capital, right? Capital city, and which was fortified. Means it was walled. Why they fortified? Because in the process of or in the defense purpose, right? The purpose of defense. Because during that time there were lots of war happened between the 16 Mahajana Pradas. So that's why fortification is really very important, right? Even in this Indus Valley civilization, we also found the fortification of the citadel. Do you remember? Okay. Then one of the most important changes during that time, right? In 6th century BC, Brahman began to compose, means write, the Sanskrit text known as Dharma Sutras. Now, in the 6th century BC, Brahmins start to write Dharma Sutras and Dharma Shastras. And then later on, in 2nd century BC, they write Manusmriti. All these texts mention about the different kinds of rules and regulations the people need to follow. In this text, it contained Varna systems were there, marriage rules were there, right? And how the social need to work. Everything was written in these texts. It was start writing in 6th century BC by the Brahmin. Even in Indian today, these texts matters a lot. Understood? So next we are going to discuss about first among the 16. Now we know about the 16 Mahajana Pradas mentioned in Buddhist and Jain texts, right? Now here the topic itself gives you an idea about first among the 16 Mahajana Pradas. Now first among the 16 Mahajana Pradas means among the 16 Mahajana Pradas, which is the most powerful Mahajana Pradas. So of course it's Magadha, present day Bihar, and capital city is Rajgir, right? And later on we shifted to Patliputra. Now see why this is called most powerful. We are going to discuss here. The Magadha, present day Bihar, become the most powerful Mahajana Pradas because there's some reason. So these are that is also kind of question that's mostly asked in exam. So you must need to pay a little bit attention here. See, present day Bihar, right? Magadha. Now, why it is so important? Why it is so powerful? Because Magadha has a very this powerful, brave, or you may say ambitious king like Ajatashatru. Then we have Bibisara, Mahapadma, Nanda also there. These are the different kind of these powerful, ambitious king were there. Because of that, it became one of the most powerful or popular among the 16 Mahajana Pradas. And second point, in exam you need to write in a point. If the question is about why Mahajana Pradas is considered as the most powerful among the 16 Mahajana Pradas, so your answer should be like that. First, don't write like that. If you write like that, then you will not get good marks. See, you need to elaborate your answer a little bit. Just like powerful rulers were there, just like Bindusara and Ajatashatru, because they are ambitious, they are powerful, they are very so efficient. Also, you can write. And the second point, why it is considered important is powerful because availability of iron provides resources for tools and weapons. If you remember, present day Bihar, right? If you heard about the place called Jharkhand in Indian state, during that time Jharkhand is a part of Bihar. And around 2000, right, it became a separate state. Before 2000, we have 25 states. In 2000, 3 more states added to India. There is Uttarakhand. Then we have this Chhattisgarh. One is Jharkhand. And the Jharkhand present day, where this Jamshedpur, where the availability of iron and steels were there. So Jharkhand comes under the Bihar at that time. So of course, iron products were available were there. So what is the use of iron? To make the weapons, to make the shields used in the war, right? So because of that, it became popular among the 16 Mahajana Pradas, Magadha. And third, Magadha was a fertile region of agriculture. If you look in this map, Over here, the northern plain where the good rainfall, because of the Dwap area where the confluence of river Ganga and Son were happened in this area. So on that, it is the Dwap area where the fertility of soil was very good and the rivers were there. So of course, good agriculture means enough tax. Enough tax means prosperity, kingdom, or efficient king, or efficient ruler, or happy state, or powerful state. Of course, yes. So that's why that is became one of the most powerful among the 16 marginal pratas. And the next point that why it is considered as the most powerful is because availability of elephant in the forest used in the battle. See, if you see that picture, you have watched Bahubali, right? In many other ancient Mahabharata, elephant were the key this strategy used in the battle, right? They ride the elephant and then attack from the above. So it is very good. So elephant are very useful in the war during that time. So in this area there was lots of forests, so elephant were available there. So because of the elephant, they use it in battle. So that's why they become one of the most powerful among the 16 marginal pratas. And the last, and Ganga and a tributary, right? Ganga and a tributary, river tributary. Provide cheap communication means do the business with others. Cheapest mode of transportation, or this is a riverine route, right? So here Ganga and this Ganga and tributary provided cheap means of communication to do the business with others. So because of that, it became very popular among the 16 marginal pratas. And as I told you before, it has a strong capital, right? Rajgir. And before it is called Raja Gara, Raja Ka Ghar. And around 4th century AD, the capital shifted to Patliputra, present day Patna, the capital city, the capital of Bihar. Right? So these above points shows that how and why Magadha considered as the most powerful among the 16 marginal pratas. So you must need to learn it because that kind of questions were frequently asked in the board exam. So that is for today's next topic we are going to learn in the next video. Thank you.